Hello all you infidel kuffar and Muslims out there. Nemesis is back for another exposure vid, and this time it's about Islamic apologetics. And Gazbot 1990 is absolutely full of them. Not to say that he's actually true in anything that he's... Well, he will be true in some of the things that he says. Do beg my pardon, but, you know, he's compromised his position a long time ago with me by, one, calling me a racist, two, calling other people that debate racist when they're clearly not, and three, defaming people's characters by actually lying and trying to make them out to be racist when they're actually not. So, on that issue, I've decided to make this video. As you can clearly see here, Gazbot and I did actually become friends. Because, you know, I don't hate everybody who disagrees with me. I have a lot of Muslim friends on YouTube and in the real world. As we can clearly see here, there I am. So, you know, initially it started out quite sincere, quite nice, you know, and the debate was going quite well. But then, of course, he decided to go down the defamation route of trying to undermine my argumentation as well as others. And to do that, you know, by lying, by deceiving, you know, and just dabbling in outright fallacy, compromised his position to a point where I had to make this video. So, just to get a little bit of background on Gazbot, he lives in Qatar. So, we can understand why he has the opinions that he does. This is a little article from theeconomist.com. Titled Small Country, Big Ideas. I'll just read to you the first paragraph. I'll set up a number of links on this video anyway for you to have a look at yourself in order to back up my argument. But anyway, I shall read this to you. In 1952, the year that Sheikh Hamad bin Khalifa Al Thani was born, Qatar had fewer than 40,000 people, most of them barefoot nomads and fishermen, and not a single school. The emirate he rules now hosts Education City, a complex of branch campuses from some of the world's most prestigious colleges. According to IMF figures, the country's 950,000 residents this year surpassed those of Luxembourg to become the world's richest. They enjoy an income per person of $80,870, yet that plump figure belies the far greater private wealth of native Qatari citizens, who number fewer than 200,000. But who own nearly all of the Emirates' assets, as opposed to the army of foreign guest workers who serve them. In other words, he lives in a very small country, with a very small population, with a huge gross national product. You know, an average income of over $80,000 is nothing to be sniffed at. So, that is why he probably debates in the way that he does. I don't believe that Qatar really represents all Islamic nations. Far from it. You know, Saudi Arabia is completely at odds with it, but we'll go into more detail on that a bit later. So for now, what I want to do is bring to your attention his racist slur. Right. He does actually also debate Muslims. I mean, I'm not saying that he doesn't debate them. Far from it, he does. It's just that he's coming to people like me, claiming that I'm racist, and then obviously his apologetics bring him to a point where he has to lie and create falsehoods to actually try and demonstrate that he's winning an argument, which is an absolute load of bollocks, to be honest with you. But anyway, just so I'm not being biased, I'll just read you a few bits of few comments rather that he's actually left on my channel. Here he said, and to just quickly add to this, I've already stated 3 times in the past, something you guys seemingly have chosen to ignore, is the fact I spend about as much time arguing on here with you guys as I do on different websites and programs to Muslims such as the forums, where one of the intolerant site administrators banned me for being bisexual because it came up in a topic of discussion. So you can use your weak arguments of me being a Muslim appeaser all you like, it doesn't make it true, unfortunately. Second one. Your arguments and discussions turn racially orientated, whether you like to admit it or not. You and your channels are only serving the purpose of inciting more hatred and more problems. You're not solving any problems, and you're not convincing anyone of what you claim to be doing here, which is speaking about Islam and convincing others the same. You're trying to force your opinions and views on others aggressively through YouTube. There are far better ways of doing things than this. Well, aggression, racism, I suppose that all boils down to someone's perception, right? If someone wants to perceive me as being racist, I can't stop them perceiving me being racist. I can argue with them and say, look, I'm not racist, and here are the reasons why. But as it goes, and as you will see later, that Gazbot can't substantiate his claims with Islamic apologetics. So, not only has he said this to me, but he also spoke about say no to Islamofascism. It's an atheist from America, and he actually quoted, or allegedly quoted, say no to Islamofascism's comments, stating that he called someone a sand nigger, which quite frankly is repulsive, and I don't agree with that bollocks, because it is racist. That is, calling someone a sand nigger is racist. And unfortunately for Gazbot, it's a claim that he couldn't substantiate. I, as well as many others, have gone on to do Google searches for these comments, which you can find, you know, it's quite easily done, and nowhere could we find on YouTube these comments substantiated. So Gazbot dabbles in deception, deceit, defamation, lies, fallacy, and the rest. Like I say, my whole reason for making this video. Right, so, okay, he's made the racist slur, if you like. And now I'll go on to the next few pages. I'm not going to go through every single page that we've been having discussions about, because quite frankly I'd have to spend about 3 hours doing them, so I'm not going to bother. But I will give you the snippets, and obviously if you want to come to my channel and read the whole discussions yourself, feel free to do so. I have nothing to hide. Anyway, right then. So, I'm saying to him here about his tiresome racist argument. You contradict yourself over and over again. You acknowledge that Islam is not a race, yet you continue to play the race card anytime someone criticises or satirises the Islamic faith. Having legitimate issues with the Islamic faith and its pious laws doesn't mean a blanket hatred of Arabs. How ridiculous. For a start, not all Arabs are serious about their faith and follow it to the letter. Secondly, not all Arabs are Muslim, so again you fall on your own sword. You really are clutching at straws here. You reek of desperation. It's clear to see that your definition of racism doesn't actually fit the real definition of racism at all. Poor, weak argumentation for the weak-willed and weak-minded. I shall go on. I'm glad you spend time arguing with hateful, intolerant Muslims who hate your sexuality. Ever pondered why they hate your sexual orientation? You are an Islam appeaser because you use the same old worn-out, tiresome, racist argument over and over again. It doesn't convince or impress anyone here. All you do is expose your desperation. My arguments are ideologically based, not race-based, whether you want to accept it or not. Either way, your opinion is unsubstantiated and falls way short of fact. I don't force my opinions on anyone. People have the choice to either listen or ignore. There is no compulsion here, only free will and freedom of speech prevail here. So, he goes on to say, the racism card can and will continue to be played as long as the UN and other organisations and governing bodies around the globe acknowledge religious racism as a form of racism. Racism can be defined by attacking or deliberately hurting or use or prejudice or extreme hatred towards a group of people protected by international law. Such groups of protected people include Muslims, Jews, Christians. We have established that such are not actually races but peoples following a set religion, set of beliefs. Which raises the point here a little bit, however. My argument still stands. Religious racism is very real, and you are committing acts of it along with acts of hate crimes and other verbal typing terror attacks on protected groups of people. Yes, I'm a terrorist. I'm a typing terrorist. Better than being one that blows myself up in a crowded market somewhere, I suppose, but hey-ho. Anyway, right, so, Where else was I going to go on this? I think I don't need to go too much more anymore on that, so it's next page 32. So I'll do that. Like I say, obviously if you feel the need to come to my channel and read the whole discussion with the Gazbot, then please feel free to do so. I'll leave it here for now for part 1. Join me in part 2.